Good morning, and today's going to be Ace Jack. We are mid position, full ring. We're short one hand, so we only have a big blind in this hand. Under the gun raised. I folded, cutoff called, and big blind called. So this guy's playing tight 14-4-1. We've got one note that says he limped and called a raise with nines. To me, that suggests that pocket pairs like nines are not going to be raising in this spot. When we look at his early position stat, it's 12%. Raise first sin's 3%. Limp first sin's 8%. He's definitely seems to be more of like a tight passive. He's probably not going to be raising a whole lot. So when we think about his raising range in this spot, I'm putting something together like this, 3%, a little more than 3%. I think that goes with his stats here, 3 out of 76, or raise first in 2 out of 72. Definitely pretty tight. I think these better hands are just going to be limps. So like ace jack, king, queen, queen jack, tens, nines. Those are limps instead of raises. So we're going to have a pretty tight range for him. This player's playing 19-9. So again, I've got a note that says it's more on the passive side. We've got a call under the gun raise first in from mid position with ace king off. But we also see that we have a 3-bet range includes ace king off. So it looks like sometimes he calls, sometimes he raises with them. I'm just going to exclude it and say he's going to raise with them. So since he doesn't raise, he doesn't have those hands. I also think he's going to be on the tighter range here with the cutoff. He plays about 21% of hands. 3 bets with, like 1 out of 54, so that's 2%. Fewer hands, so the percentages might be off a little bit. Called 2 bets at 15%, so I do think that 15% range is where we should be targeting. And I think this range really kind of hits it. You've got your suited aces, you've got suited broadways, you've got pocket pairs, suited connectors, suited one gappers, some offsuits. Not entirely sure about the one gappers. I guess if you take out the one gappers, you might add like a king jack off, maybe the queen jack off to add to it, and it would probably still be good. Last player, big blind, gets to see the flop for only 2 big blinds. I do think he'll be wider, and his notes look like that. So 3-bet range of kings, tens, ace, kings. So I do think his 3-bet range is going to be a little bit wider. I did queens plus ace, king, and then added jacks as well. Maybe he would add ace, queen. Just kind of thinks, it depends. It just depends. I didn't add ace queen because of the hands that we know for his 3 bets. It's kings, tens, and ace kings. We don't have ace queen, and I would kind of think we would have seen an ace queen in there. We do have a called 2-bet from the blinds range with ace queen off, so probably has those in there. So I do think we have queen x suited in here. So when we look at his call 2-bets range, queen 3 suited, that was in there. We've got a jack 6 suited. So I think if you've got all of the queen x suited, you have all the kings, you have all the aces. Jack 6, I think you have to go down here. Maybe he has like all of like the jack x suited too. I feel like we're a little low on the number of combos that we have in this range, but I think it's a good starting point. It's a good starting point until we have a better idea how he plays. It's still a lot of cards, a lot of hands that'll likely miss the flop or connect weakly with the flop. So we've got our 3 ranges. 3 players goes to the flop of 4-3-2 with 2 clubs. All right, so expect this guy to check, and then villain 6 or villain 5 should probably be betting. He's got a strong range, heavy on pocket pairs. definitely take advantage of the strength of his hand. He bets. I think you're going to get called, or you could get called by players that will call with just overcards, so wanting to see the turn, wanting to connect with that pair, or connect with the turn to make a pair. So he checks, no big surprise. But then villain 5 checks, um, and I do expect like all of the jacks plus to bet. So I think the overpair are out. I think he would have bet those, and that means he has one of these no made hands, the ace king, ace queens. I think that just narrowed his range down right there. Since he is so tight, villain 2 checks behind, so he had an opportunity to bet here. Once everyone checks, it's not the greatest situation, but I do think sets and straights are going to be betting here. I think overcards are probably going to be betting. I think really basically any pair is going to be betting. So again, I just kind of feel like the no made hands, that's probably what he has, and that leaves this player could have possibly the best hand, because I think he's checking his entire range, and since he's checking his entire range, we can't narrow it down any further at this point. 9 of diamonds comes out. All right, so villain 4 now has seen both players check. I think sets and straights are probably just going to check. I think 2 pairs are going to check. Over pairs oh, I'm sorry. Sets and straights are betting. 2 pair are betting. Over pair are betting. Top pair might be betting at this point. Definitely like ace 9, king 9 are probably betting. We could scale all of the rest and say 50% chance that they were going to bet. And just remember, we're going to take out the ace and the king 9. I think now the rest of the pairs just get scared, scared of that 9, and they're not going to bet. So there's his check, and then villain 6 checks again. No big surprise. He's checking his no made hands again. And villain 2 checks again. So here we go. I do think top pair is going to be betting. Probably all of the top pairs. So just hands are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It looks like whoever kind of bets might take it. So we see river of the 8 of diamond. No Broadway. No one showing strength. Great opportunity for villain 4 to take a stab at this pot. Pot's 9 big blinds. He could easily go. He'd probably go, something low. Go, 3 big blinds, third pot, basically. I don't think the pot's going to be large enough for people to necessarily bluff catch. So I think you're bluffing. I think villain 4 could bluff more than he should, and take down more pots than what he theoretically should. So he didn't, and the next guy checked. So and I guess there's still a possibility that he has a top pair. He does look pretty passive. So we're looking at top pair or worse. This guy, I think we've narrowed it down. Ace king, ace queen. And then villain 2 checks behind. So again, I mean, maybe he's got a middle pair, just gonna take the free showdown. But again, something like that. And this is where he has ace king, ace queen, and he has anything that's not ace king or not ace queen. You can't, even if he has ace queen, there's no way. Maybe you tie with ace queen, but you're putting him on ace king, ace queen. You're not gonna win. So your only chance at winning the pot is to bet. Same thing with him. I think once it goes check check, he's in a position. I think he's got some hands that could connect, including the club. But if he chooses to check, the turn's a great time for him to bet. He's got 9 in his range. He's got 9 10. He's got 9 8. He's got the ace 9. He has opportunity. So this was just, you know, raise first in, 2 calls, and then the showdown. So ace king here, definitely we have that. Queen 10 off, we didn't have that. We had king, you know, king queen off, so I do think queen 10 would also be in that range. And then this is the jack 6, so we had jack 6 as a nothing. So this was the only guy we didn't really have when it comes to his opening range. I think our opening range was too narrow, but that's okay. So we've got a raise first in 3 big blind under the gun with ace of diamonds, king of spades. He is MP 3-way. Check, check, check. On a 4 spade, 3 club, 2 club. 9 of diamonds. 8 of diamonds. All right, so we've got that player. This is good to know that he calls with queen 10 off. So we'll put that here. Call under the gun. 3 big blind, R5 from cutoff with queen of clubs, 10 of spades. IP 3-way. Check, check, check. And our last. Overcall under the gun. 3 big blind, RFI. In big blind with jack 6 hearts. It's out of position, 3-way. Check, check, check. All right, so ace king took down this hand, and just as I said, he had an opportunity. He does have, you know, the gut shot, bottom of the gut shot. I think when you think about his overall range, he's got a lot of pairs, you know, a lot of combos with the pairs. So jacks, queens, kings, aces. He's going to c-bet those, and he needs the ace, king, ace, queen to balance those values. So he really needed to c-bet. He c-bets, chances are he's going to get the folds. Even if he gets called, I think the 9 is kind of a non-player. Yeah, of course it could connect with players, but you know, it doesn't really connect with the rest of the board and connect with hands that probably would have called. Yeah, you have these overcards that could call, but again, that's just a chance. I mean, that's poker. That's why it's a game of uncertainty, and we do our best to work through like hand reading skills, things like we're doing right now to try to help us deduce what opponents have to reduce that uncertainty. The more you can reduce that uncertainty, the better you're going to do, the better you're going to play, the more money you're going to win, so forth. So he c-bets flop, then I think he should probably follow up with c-bet on the turn. If either of these players call on the flop, I don't think they're going to be calling on the turn. But really, I just think he bets the flop. He's going to pick it up immediately. Once he checks the flop, queen 10 has an opportunity. He does have a queen of clubs. He's got backdoor club draw. He could easily bet. I probably wouldn't because of the third player. You're going to play a little bit more straightforward in a 3-way pot versus heads up. So I don't necessarily mind the check by him. But then once the board goes checks all the way around on the flop, then that opens up possibility that this guy could take a stab at the pot on the turn. I think when he does, I mean, that's just as a pure bluff. He's got nothing in his range. He has a lot of hands in his range. But I think just firing out here, it's going to be tough for both these players to call. I mean, you're representing, you know, at this point, a 9 could be, I mean, at a minimum, a pair, you know, you're representing a pair. You could have played 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s. You could have played 10s this way, possibly jacks this way. So I think, you know, overall, I think this guy had the best opportunity to pick up the pot once the flop gets checked. Once he checks the turn, then I think it falls back to this guy where he could easily have bet the 9. You bet. Maybe ace king calls, then you bet again on the river. I don't think ace king could call again. You're representing too much, which a pair is going to be too much for ace king. So there we have it. A hand that was raised pre-flop and then just became super passive. Hopefully you enjoyed this hand. If you do, you can look tomorrow for another.